Hi, guys. So, Bert and I have some exciting news. We've created a brand new course called Automate to Accelerate. It's a self-paced way to finally get your arms around how to use technology and AI to, actually run your business smarter, not harder. And if you're craving a live, guided learning, we've also launched Accelerate Academy. That's our cohort-based program where you learn with peers and us in real time. So if you want to be the first to know when these officially launch and also get an exclusive podcast listener price, I love a good deal, head over to acceleratinghumans.com/presale. Just add your name to the list and we'll make sure you're the first in line when the doors open. We'll have this information linked into our show notes, but if you're interested, just sign up, put your name down. You don't have to buy. You'll just be the first to know and also get an exclusive discount. Every business eventually hits that crossroads. Do we hack together something ourselves, or do we swipe the credit card for a solution that's ready to go? Get it right and you save money, scale faster, and keep your sanity. Get it wrong, and suddenly you've got a Frankenstack of tools nobody knows how to use. Or worse, a custom system that's one developer away from collapsing. In today's episode, we're going beyond the theory and working through real-world scenarios to help you decide, do you build, buy, or borrow? Hi, Bert.
Hey, Juliana. Good morning.
Good morning. So, question for you. Are you a DIYer or are you more of a, I'm going to call someone to come and fix it?
Oh,
Like
man.
if your sink gets clogged,
All right. So
do you try to fix it or do you go out and buy it? Or call someone
in
to
theory,
come fix it?
I'm both. I started as more of a DIYer, and I would just
Okay.
always, fix it. I can do it. I can fix it myself. And then as time and responsibilities piled up, I became more of a, you know what? I'm just going to hire someone to come out here and do this. And that way, if I break off the pipe behind my brick wall, they can fix it. I don't have water spraying over my driveway.
Good call. Yeah, I was thinking about that because I very much have the DIY spirit. But when I consult with people, or even when I go and I'm doing something, I always tell people, I'm the expert. You need to pay me to do what I need to do. So when I go and I'm going to get a facial and they say, what do you want done? I say, you tell me. You are the expert.
Mm-hmm.
So to this extent, I love to DIY, but I don't necessarily know if DIY is the way to go all the time with your tech stack and your problems. So today, I really wanted to talk about when should you buy a solution
Mm-hmm.
or when should you build a solution?
Okay.
And what I mean, sorry for anyone watching, I have a cat going crazy on my chair. When we say build a solution, I mean use the tools that are readily available to you. So either manipulate something within your tech stack or put a little bit of dev resource into something so that you can create your own automation. So buy or build. What are your thoughts? Or do you lean one way or the other?
So I kind of look at it as buy, build, or borrow. And for me, at least, it's how core and how critical is it to what differentiates me in the market. So if I'm building something if I'm working on something that no one has ever done before, then I'm probably going to have to build it. If I'm in a well-defined market, a well-defined niche, then someone has probably already built what I want to do, and me going back and reinventing the wheel is not going to benefit me. I could better spend my resources elsewhere. So it's very much a depends sort of situation. So you have to analyze it every time, I think.
Okay. Well, I thought it might be fun if we took business problems and we said, are we inclined to build it, buy it, or even in the sense, borrow it?
Okay.
So I asked GPT to come up with some business cases. We have not read them. I have not read them. You have not read them.
Mm-hmm.
So
surprise.
Let's just get into it.
Okay, cool.
So scenario number 1. It is a hospitality group.
Okay.
220 employees.
Okay.
$40 million in revenue. They do have IT. They have an IT manager as a resource. And then they outsource their help desk. So they don't have any devs. Here's the scenario. We run a luxury boutique hotel chain in California. Our front desk team struggles to manage late checkout requests and coordinate with housekeeping in real time. I've seen an off-the-shelf mobile app for $10 a user a month that integrates with their PMS. But my COO wonders if we can just quote unquote tweak our existing scheduling tool to handle this. Should we build internally or buy?
So it's $10 a month and you've got 200 employees, you said?
So it's $10 a month per employee.
And how many employees?
So they have 220 employees.
Okay.
And we're talking about late checkouts.
Sure.
And communicating to housekeepers.
Okay. And I'm guessing for me, I'd want to know, do I provide or do I have the housekeepers, do they all have smartphones or do we provide one, or do they have us add an app, or can we use an SMS sort of thing? And then, so immediately I go to, okay, we could build this, but the question is, should we? So first off, is that particular thing core to our differentiation? Is it something that us allowing late checkout, is that a thing for us? Is that important to us? Or is it just like it's something that all hotels do?
Well, all hotels, a lot of them offer late checkouts. A lot of them are perks. So they're a boutique hotel, right? Sure. So they may not have a big loyalty program, but it is something that is offered. And I'm going to just put my little HR spin on it. Remember, if someone is checking out late, usually late checkouts can be anywhere 1, 2 o'clock up to 4 p.m. Mm. If a housekeeper is coming in at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock to start their shift, and you need someone to stay late, that does add a level of compliance over it of who can stay late, what's their availability, and then the approval by both the employee to stay late and the manager approving potentially overtime. So you pulled out the idea of, can we use SMS? So I think that is a great starting point of, is there already, do they have mobile devices? Do they have device? From an HR perspective, if you're asking someone to use our personal device, you do have to pay them.
Sure.
So that $10, so the $10 a month, for an example, that you would pay the employee to use their device could go over to this new app.
Okay. Well, that's something that I was always kind of curious about, that because I see it Home Depot or some of the other stores that I go into, they all got these little cell phone things, and I guess it's just they give them a cell phone that's their provided device.
But a lot of the retail stores also retrofit an iPhone essentially to be a device that they do give them.
Okay.
I have my decision. I'm actually going to say build.
Okay. What?
The reason that I say build is in this scenario, the COO wants to explore the scheduling functionality.
Okay.
Again, inside knowledge, a lot of times scheduling systems right now have a way to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are giving the housekeeping a device, the scheduling system has a way of communicating or messaging the employee through it. And I think that depending on what scheduling system they use, they'd be able to make real-time updates to see who is being forecast into overtime, where people's availability are. So some people only have their availability set to, let's say, 3 p.m. So you'll be able to see who's working, who can stay late, what their overtime would be forecast as, and potentially an employee can approve, deny that shift. And because it's a system that the employee is using, you now don't have to train them and worry about the change management of it. So that's why I'm build on this one.
Okay.
I'm team build on this.
I might be team buy, but the reason that I would say is it's if I'm looking at a $40 million a year enterprise, I'm looking at $26,000 for that $200 or $10 per person per year or per month rather. And that's not a big spend. And if it's an easy drop-in fix and I've got a limited IT department, it might make it easier to try to deal with an IT spin up of a project. So I'm going to have to go through requirement sessions, figure out what they actually want, get it through all the approvals, blah, blah, blah. And maybe this is something that's easy for us to do, maybe not. But if I can get something that this is a core need right now, and I can get something that allows us to solve the problem right now, it solves it for me. And maybe this is not a build so much as it's a borrow. I get something that allows me to borrow it for a year, figure out what works about it, what doesn't work with our system, and then we build or extend from that. And it seems like a small investment to get a big win. You fix your late checkout, you make your employers happier, and then you learn something. You just have to make sure you don't get too deep, because then you're locked in with that vendor.
Okay, ready for the next one?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the next one is food and beverage is the industry.
All right.
It is 85 employees with $12 million of revenue. There is no in-house IT, but there is a marketing manager who has basic web skills. The scenario says, we're an artisanal coffee roaster with 3 cafes. We want to start a subscription coffee delivery program. There's a Shopify plugin that would cost $2,500 a year and handle recurring billing, shipping labels, and customer management. My marketing director wonders if we can just add a subscribe button to our website and manage it in Excel. Build or buy.
$2,500 a year?
$2,500 a year. Plus, there's probably transaction fees, but I'm assuming that you're going to be charged the credit card transaction fee regardless.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I'd buy that.
I'm buying it as well. I'm also buying it just for the fact that to remove someone's subscription, if they wanted to change it, if they wanted to prorate it, you're going to have such a much better experience as the customer having a streamlined platform than worrying about credit card information being in a
I don't even. Okay, 2 things. There's the PCI DSS side of it, where I'm concerned about hosting their stuff, and it's like I want their insurance to handle it. I want them to be in scope for PCI. I don't want to be in scope for PCI on that. And the second thing is, I've built something like this before, and I don't think they understand it. Someone says, "Oh, it's really simple," and it's like pointing to a giant 20,000 foot mountain and said, "It's really simple. It's just up there." Yeah, man. Cool. I'm the one that has to carry this carry the tent up the mountain, I mean, I'm not super excited about that slog, especially if you don't have an IT department. And you don't, this is much more, I'm sure this is one of those ones you open it up, it's going to be a lot more complicated than you think.
Yeah. Similar to that one, we now have a scenario that is healthcare.
Healthcare. Okay.
So let's see, build or buy for this one. Healthcare, 600 employees, $110 million revenue. There is a 4-person IT team, 1 compliance officer, and no devs. Here's the scenario. We operate 3 regional urgent care centers. We want a patient self-check-in kiosk system that integrates with their EMR and scans IDs and insurance cards. Vendors quote $250,000 total for hardware and software. But our IT director says we could repurpose some old iPads and build a check-in app ourselves. The risk is HIPAA compliance and long-term support. Build or buy.
Boy, that's a hard one. You could totally do that. You would just, it's a question of if you want the risk.
Yeah. See, I need more information.
Yeah.
I want to know how many people are coming through.
Yeah.
So they're 3, but they're regional, right? So I don't know what that means in terms of people coming through. And they do 110 million in revenue and 600 employees. So you're thinking maybe like 200, 175 per location of employees. What does their EMR offer?
I bet their EMR, they probably already have a tablet that is associated with their EMR. I would try to port that to a bigger screen, put it in the front desk or put it to the side. And why do you need a kiosk? I think you just hand them a tablet, let them do it where they want. And then I don't have to worry about privacy.
I am also so interested in the type of people coming through.
Sure.
So is it more urgent care? Is it more doctor's appointments? Again, when a patient is scheduling in their EMR, are you able to send them the paperwork?
Mm-hmm.
Because every experience that I've had going to an urgent care, for example, even when I've signed up, I've made an appointment online, I've uploaded my insurance cards because I don't have physical insurance cards. I just have the digital versions. I've taken a picture of my ID, but then they've had to look at my ID when I go to pay. So where is there redundancy? Where is this a nice to have? But I would almost not build, but let's explore what the EMR has to offer. And then from a compliance standpoint, it's not worth building it.
So
because for $250K, if PII medical data gets out or is hacked, or some Joe Schmoes goes, oh, I went to go check in. My fiance's last name is Johnson. What, second most common last name? You have someone check in with potentially the same name, him and his dad, and now he sees his dad's medical records, or some information is released because of a home-built system. What is the lawsuit there? And it's really not worth it. That's my opinion.
Probably less than you think. So my dad and I have a same name, and my grandfather same name, and it caused incredible amount of frustration to us with mixed medical records over the as they were digitizing, because most of the medical centers, most of the medical community that I've dealt with personally has not nailed that dismount. And I can give you a great example recently of, I had a injury for my 8-year-old, fell off his scooter, and we had to go to the emergency room, and it was, he hurt his wrist, and I'm holding my kid. My wife is working on the insurance, and they were great. The actual care was awesome. But here we come 2 months later, we get a bill, and they had our insurance, they had everything, but they didn't bill our insurance. And now they've given us the multi-$1,000 ER bill without going through the insurance. And they're bad at that at times. And I know that there's a lot of I know that there's a lot of services out there that can help with making the experience better for the user, as opposed to the care experience, but then the payment, the billing experience, and that check-in experience. And I think that a lot of those electronic medical records companies and the health record companies that they're using have put a lot of money and effort into making a better experience. To your point, I would go and see what my existing company has. I'm really hesitant to say, let these guys just build this thing, a kiosk in my desk, in my entranceway. Because, we've built those before for driver services, the building kiosks sort of thing. Had some of my BAs working on that, and they did a good job. But at the same time, it was a lot more complicated than they thought initially. And I think that the complexity and the risk of compliance does make me a little nervous about that. I think that this is one of those that you take an existing tool, use your in-house knowledge and compliance to transform it into something that's useful for you without necessarily that spin.
Okay. We have time for one more.
Okay. Well, I like these, by the way.
Aren't they fun?
Yeah.
That'll be my next icebreaker question. Okay, so you can choose. We have one that is professional services, 150 employees, 165 million revenue, or logistics, 2,500 employees, 500 million revenue.
I could go either way.
All right, we're going to do logistics. So here is the scenario. Logistics company, 2,500 employees, 500 million revenue. You have a 12-person IT team. It's broken down as 4 developers, 5 system admins, and 3 analysts. So this is something you're used to working with. This is the scenario. We operate a trucking fleet across 12 states. Dispatchers currently assign loads using phone calls and homegrown access database. A vendor offers a full fleet management platform with route optimization, live GPS, and compliance tracking for $500,000 a year. Our CTO thinks we could patch our system with a GPS API and some Power BI dashboard. Build or buy?
You go first on this one.
Oh, this is a hard one. I worked with a logistics company once. And at the time, we were working on implementing mobile clock-in for their drivers. One of the issues that came up was dead zone, blackout zones. And the thing with using actual cellular versus SMS or 5G is that cellular gets through better than other methods or other things on your phone.
Sure.
Part of me, I would really need to stress test a new system if it were to go new system.
Sure.
I think back to taxi cab drivers growing up in New York, and the cab drivers pre-Uber knew exactly where to go, exactly what the traffic patterns were. You could give them an address and they knew where it was. They had the map memorized. My last few trips to New York over the last few years. I've jumped in a taxi cab, a yellow cab, and the cab driver goes, "What's your address?" And they put it in Waze.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm thinking, oh no, they have my home or my parents' home address saved in their phone. But when I say stress test, it really is the new system going to optimize? Are all these features actually going to be equivalent or better than the humans who are the directors of the routes? That's my biggest straw of where I'm on the fence of do you buy or build?
I think that I get that. I do. I think that so it's a question of scale for me. If it's 12 states that you're working in, it's a lot of back roads. The London taxi cab drivers have to memorize thousands of miles of road to the point that they have less instance of Alzheimer's than most other people because they use they're using that part of their brain so much. But this is a core competency for this trucking program. They are the trucking company, logistics company. Mm-hmm. They are a large enough company that they could probably build it themselves. They've got enough of an IT staff they could probably do it themselves. And $500,000 a year for it is, I would want to do a cost benefit analysis on this because I could probably get at least one, probably two more IT employees out of this. And depending on the infrastructure that I would have to do to put this in place for that spend, I'm just looking at that $500,000 a year. And I've ridden this ride before. It starts at $500,000 a year. Next year, it'll be $600,000. In 5 years, It's going to be $1 million. And it is going to be brutal, and you're going to be locked into something that is core importance to your business. You need this. And I don't think that the COO is right that I can just use Power BI and get a GPS API and be done with it. But I've got the CEO is on board with doing something internal, and I can work with that. I think that if you position it correctly, you could get him on board with, okay, look, we need to define what the requirements are, figure out exactly what we're trying to make while we're trying to make it. And if he buys into the idea that it's core to the business and you're able to get a cost benefit analysis and make a business case for it, I think that this is a big enough spend. You probably should have a business case. You probably should have a process for that. But at the same time, that'll give you the clear information that you need to make the decision with open eyes. Personally, I'd probably build that.
I would probably take the approach of let's use a proof of concept for the Power BI because the scenario, yes, there's the GPS component for route optimization, but there's also the compliance component. And I'm going to assume that the compliance is a Power BI, what they're looking at that. And that's data you already have. And to your point, $500K a year, you could get really good developer for half that, if not less.
Well, you got to remember, all of the other stuff that involves is like, what's the actual cost of ownership for an employee? But still, I think at least one, probably two people. I don't know what your infrastructure looks like. There's a very well developed APIs around mapping Google provides. I've got GPS solutions out the wazoo that I can bolt into that, and then I could use AI potentially for routing. So,
I'm also curious of. So this is a scenario that we talked about, employees using their phone. They're going to have a company phone or their own phone where they can use something like Waze.
Oh, no, I had an employee many years ago that had a side business that he left because it took off. He made these little GPS satellite mixture things that mounted on top of trucks.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I'm like,
it's a $500,000 piece of inventory. I need to know where that thing is.
And I also need to ask this critical question. Now I'm going to put on the CFO hat, not the
Sure.
CTO hat. Are operations going to expand where we are now going to recoup $500K in what we're spending? Is there going to be, what is the value out of this? Is it going to be that we can add an additional stop? So now we're looking at, okay, because we're going to be able to optimize and we have 2,500 employees, let's say 2,000 of them are part of the fleet, with the other 500 being support. So there's 2,000 drivers. If half of them are working at any single given moment, 1,000, and now we're able to add another stop. Okay, so we have 1,000 stops per day. We're having, 300,000 additional stops. All right, this is going to offset the cost of that. Great, let's go ahead and move forward with that. Or is this going to improve the job of our employees? Are they going to be less frustrated? Are we going to have less turnover? Are we going to get better metrics with it? Because we're going to have different insights that now we can do some more advanced analytics on this information, where again, you can find a cost saving of 500,000. So you have a big budget, you have high revenue. Is the plan to expand to 14 states, add 2 more states? So now this is really going to be important for your expansion and your planning. But I think from what are we actually trying to accomplish? Is it just route optimization? And that's nice to have. Or is it a critical feature because you're trying to increase your revenue and now adding 1 stop a day additional is going to be bumping you up several more $1 million in revenue?
Yeah, I think your business case would answer a lot of those questions because you would need to do a deeper dive from just the surface level. I kind of think core competency, and if there is an off-the-shelf solution that solves for it, maybe, but that vendor lock-in is brutal, and you want to avoid that if you at all can.
Yeah. But to the other extent, I'm going to share a story of a homegrown system gone wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, I knew the former director of payroll for Marriott Hotels. And when they started, much, much smaller operation, this was before they acquired Starwood Hotels and all those brands, their payroll system was homegrown. So when this director started working with a homegrown payroll system, but him and the team were aware, because at this point, maybe it was 10 years that they've been using it, of the limitations of it. So great, they created this system that worked for what they needed, but it was never maintained. And it was never updated to match new compliance. So a great example is if there was state overtime law changing, and overtime was going for the state from 725 to 950, it wasn't necessarily captured in this homegrown system, so it wouldn't flag it that someone was below minimum wage. And eventually they moved their operations to a third party to process payroll and the whole shebang. But it was just something that every new person who came in needed to learn these. And as time went on, the homegrown system became more and more and more inefficient.
Huge technical debt builds up. You'll probably hear people talk about green screens or whatever, and it's old purpose-built systems from 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and they never went to the trouble of updating. And I've seen that multiple times. I've seen modern systems where they try to rebuild it and it fails and spend millions of dollars, and just everybody's angry and, have executives exit the company. It's, there's always risk when you build it yourself, and it's one of those high value propositions.
as we start going towards AI,
Mm-hmm.
I also think the conversation is, are we buying AI? Are we building AI? Or are we building an automation?
Yeah.
So another great example is sometimes for your analytics, you don't need to go and buy and purchase a fancy AI. All you need is to build a macro. And yes, your macro might have the same problems as if things change, you need to update it.
Sure.
But also you then don't have to worry about AI hallucinating or information changing or someone within a third party analytics piece breaking. You
Yeah.
now own it and it's doing the exact thing that you want it to do.
Well, yeah, a lot of times we're talking about how I capture the data. So extract, transform, and load the data that I have. So what systems do I use? What data do I have available to me? Am I currently using it to the fullest capabilities that I have of it? And the answer is probably no for all of us. And, I hear a lot of people talk about building out AI systems and and you'll hear people say, oh, all of these companies that are growing up that are just wrappers for OpenAI or Anthropic or something like that. But those hyperscaling companies have built out these incredibly deep networks, and they're building a tool that is designed to be able to be used for any purpose that you want. You're borrowing their very deep investment in this. And yes, you can use it as a wrapper, but you don't get as much technical debt when you do that because they're going to continue to maintain and continue to update this. And as long as you're doing a similar sort of thing on your side, I think you can get very far with shifting right now, instead of doing like there was big talk of going from waterfall where you plan everything up front, then you execute, to an agile development model where you kind of develop as you go. The real world is usually a bit of a hybrid. I've not seen a lot of truly agile shops that are efficient. I've seen some that claim to be, but it's a lot of hand waving and a lot of ceremonies, and it's not as efficient as you want it to be. And frankly, that you're dealing with two different execution paths. From a project management, I've got the executives want to know at the high level what we're going to do in this quarter and how it's going to work. And agile makes it a little bit hard sometimes to do that. So you kind of have to have a translation layer. What I'm getting to is AI and the new tooling that's available to us gives us the opportunity to shift left, if you would, on the process flow. So I'm able to develop a proof of concept using AI much faster, show that the thing works, and de-risk the entire operation so much faster. It's incredible how much faster, because if I'm building something with it, now I know a lot of the requirements and a lot of the hard-learned lessons that I would have had to learn through failing with expensive developers a little bit downstream.
Yeah. And also the conversation, to bring it back to build and buy, will be very interesting when it comes to AI tools. So one of my favorites is the White House put out their initiative, and they said they want the Department of Defense to start adopting AI. And if we just look at a little part of that statement, one of the things is I cannot see the billions of dollars being spent to home grow an AI for the DoD. But what I could see is the offer being made to license one of the big players right now would be, okay, but we're going to host it on our own servers.
So remember,
almost like old floppy disk or CD-ROM.
Oh my God!
When you used to buy Microsoft Word and install it on your computer.
Do you remember
a great example?
Well, remember the Frankenstack episode? They already have all of this. They have vendor lock-in for that. They've already got Microsoft and Palantir and AWS and all of these very large vendors that have exactly what they want. It's integrated and it will meet their FedRAMP compliance rules. I don't know the additional rules for the DoD, but somebody somewhere has a federally compliant solution for them right now, and they will be happy to sell it to them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
The government should don't back. It would be a bad investment. Boy.
But I just think that in terms of, right, it's again that big pull of, do you DIY it? Do you buy it?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to bring AI into that conversation because it does really come down to also the complexity of what you're looking at. It's the idea of I can do it manually. I can build something using the tools that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Or do I purchase? Or do I have something that's already been proven to work and I implement it? And for me, part of it comes down to complexity. But our listeners don't really have to try to figure out if they should buy it or build it. And that's because, what did you build, Bert?
Oh, no. So we've got, for today's podcast, we've got a mermaid diagram, or that'll at least give you a research-backed decision flow for if you should build it or if you should buy it or if you should borrow it. And we'll put that up with the rest of the podcast like we normally do. We'll have a small site that is dedicated to the podcast itself, then also some things that you can put to use immediately as well. So it's not just us talking, it's something you can use.
So it's a decision tree that you can use to figure out if you should build it, buy it, or borrow it. And it does use certain decision points that are research back.
There's nature of the firm from R.H. Course, and that goes all the way back to 1937. You've got Dealing with Darwin, How Great Companies Innovated Every Phase of Their Evolution from 2005. And then I've got Build, Borrow, or Buy, Solving the Growth Dilemma, which is Capron and Mitchell in 2012. So I've got a few different bases for this. And then, let's see, Hatchworks, which is 2025, Build versus Buy Software, the definitive framework for 2025. So and then of course the big companies like McKinsey are going to come in, and then you've got all of the other like Gartner sort of thing.
So we definitely have research behind this decision tree. So it's not just Bert and I riffing, as much fun as we had doing that.
Yeah.
So it really is a useful tool. So check out our website, Accelerating Human. You'll find it within the show notes and where all of our downloads are. And that's all I got for today.
Awesome. Thanks for the time.
Now I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to go shopping for tech.
All right.
Till next time, Bert.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Accelerating Human. We want to hear from you. Make sure you visit our website, acceleratinghumans.com, where you can find information to get in touch with us, to be a guest on the podcast, as well as be the first to learn about all of our learning opportunities. Until next time.